So, my fellow Rotarians, this evening, to reflect the diversity of our district, I'd like to propose to you a protocol in French, which you can follow either in French or translated in English by selecting your language option in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Some of tonight's speeches will be in French, others in English, but we always offer a translation solution. Une fois n'est pas coutume, à l'image de la diversité de notre district, le protocole de cette réunion de ce soir, ainsi que certaines interventions, seront en français.
Will be in French as well as some presentation. Therefore, you have to choose the language that you want to listen to. You have to select it in the menu at the bottom of your screen.
Mesdames et messieurs les passe-gouverneurs de district, Madame la gouverneure de district élue, Soraya Warner-Gustave,
Madame Governor of District,
Mesdames et messieurs les présidents des comités de district, y compris les conférenciers invités, Mesdames et
District
messieurs les
President,
assistants du gouverneur en poste et élus, Mesdames et messieurs les présidents et secrétaires, Mesdames et messieurs les
District
présidents élus et
Assistant,
secrétaires d'élus, chers amis rotariens. L'objectif de ce soir est de préparer par vos actions
members, good afternoon. The objective is to give a mean to be
Nous aurons ainsi
served.
le privilège d'accueillir 4 intervenants qui chacun présentera un aspect essentiel de ce futur. Et naturellement, en premier lieu, nous allons avoir le plaisir d'écouter notre gouverneur de district élu, Soraya Warner-Gustave.
District governor-elect,
c'est un sujet qui la mobilise particulièrement.
Warner-Gustave.
Soraya est membre du Rotary Club de Sainte-Lucie depuis mars 2010. Elle a été présidente en 2018.
She was president in 2018, 2019, and the club has received an award
Au niveau du district,
for
elle a été secrétaire de district pendant l'année rotarienne 2020-2021. Elle a accepté le poste de responsable des Interacts
and she has been president of the Interact during 3 Rotarian years. Soraya is passionate of Interact. Her focus is improving the skill of young people, serving and for leadership. Also,
cherche à fournir une plateforme pour mettre en relation avec les Rotariens qui jouent le rôle de responsables Interact du district ou ceux qui sont passionnés par l'Interact dans le but de renforcer tous nos programmes.
Helping children in the Caribbean.
Soraya est Paul Harris Fellow, membre fondateur de la Polio Plus Society du district et membre du cercle Paul Harris.
Member of the Paul Harris Circle. She is a banker where she worked many years, more than 30 years. I am happy to introduce to you Soraya.
Merci, PAG Jean-Marc. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for your attendance here this evening. I know that the protocol has already been established, but I would still like to acknowledge all of our past district governors on the call, our assistant governors and district leaders, and all of our incoming club presidents, secretaries, and club officers. Welcome, everyone. Tonight, it's all about youth service, and I am so very grateful for the leadership of past District Governor Dominique, past Assistant Governor Abraham, District Rotaract-elect, District Rotaract Representative-elect Crystal, and past Assistant Governor Evangeline, who will have responsibility for Early Act, Interact, Rotaract, and Ryler, respectively, this incoming Rotary year, and will shortly provide a snapshot of their program and their plans for the new Rotary year. I want to extend early thanks to all of you, and I would like to single out past Assistant Governor Evangeline for a bit here, and the entire Antigua Rotary family, by extension, for embracing Ryler, which you will hear more about in the program. As you know, youth service, being one of Rotary's 5 avenues of service, is extremely important given the focus on youth and the development of future leaders and Rotarians. The future of our societies lie in the hands of our youth, and empowering them with service is a vital step towards building resilient and thriving communities. So this is a call to action to every club represented here this evening to get involved. If you are not yet part of this, if you are not yet part of our youth programs, and then be a part of our district's plan to grow our entire Rotary family. Thank you for your attendance here this evening. And I now hand over to our past assistant, Governor Jean-Marc, who will take us through the rest of the program. Thank you so much.
Merci, DG Soraya, pour ce message introductif. Et donc, je vous le rappelle, vous pouvez choisir à chaque fois votre langue en bas à droite si vous souhaitez une autre.
I would like to remind you to select your language.
La parole à notre past gouverneur Dominique Vénéré, qui va nous présenter le programme Early Act.
Past governor that will introduce the Interact program, Dominique Vénéré.
Et aujourd'hui responsable des clubs Early Act du district depuis l'année 2024-2025, après avoir été en 2015-2016 responsable des Rotaractiens du district. Elle est membre du club de Basse-Terre en Guadeloupe depuis 2008.
Basse-Terre Club of Guadeloupe.
Gouverneur, et aujourd'hui, elle continue d'assurer tous les mardis le protocole de son club
Still
avec beaucoup
in charge of the protocol of the club.
Des assurances où elle a exercé pendant 21 ans.
Training
depuis 11
in
ans,
insurance.
son entreprise de consultante administrative et financière auprès des petits
business.
Sa vie associative est très dense et participe énormément à son équilibre. Elle est musicienne depuis l'âge de 5 ans et pratique 4 heures de sport par semaine. Dominique lit beaucoup et se bat pour
engaged in sports. She likes reading.
Elle est passionnée d'histoire et de géopolitique et depuis quelques années s'intéresse
particulièrement au continent
africain qu'elle n'hésite pas à visiter dès qu'elle le peut.
And also the African continent.
Notre passe district gouverneur Dominique Vénéré.
Did many times.
Merci Jean-Marc. Je te laisse lancer le PowerPoint.
Un instant.
Jean-Marc.
Good evening everyone. Donc moi je vais effectivement présenter ce PowerPoint en français.
I'm going to give my PowerPoint in French. As Jean-Marc has said, I am in charge of the Early Act program since 2024 under Debbie's presidency. And the objective, his objective was to find a solution in order to be able to create Early Act clubs in every territory in the district. You can advance the slide, please. First of all, what is an Early Act club? What's the age group? And what is the mission that these young children should engage in? So what is an Early Act club? Early Act is a it's a service club which is in schools, just like Interact, and it involves children between the ages of 5 and 13. Like the Interact and Rotary, it is sponsored by a Rotary Club, which is normally in the same location as a school, same area in which the school is located. What is the mission of the Rotary? The mission and the functions are closely linked to Rotary, of course, but it's also for children who are to be associated with this club. It offers them the possibility not only of have training activities to work on the character of the children and to prepare them for leadership roles in the future. In the Early Act program, it offers an opportunity to be aware of and better understand the community, which very often they are going to develop a certain empathy, a certain interest in the community. Go on.
peux continuer.
Please
Donc
carry
là, on voit
on.
effectivement des enfants
So,
qui
so you
apprennent à prendre
see
la parole en
children
public.
who are learning to speak, who are doing public speaking, learn to speak in public.
Tu peux continuer. Je pense, ça, c'est pour que les gens puissent le lire au moins
This
en
is just
anglais.
so you can read in English what's happening. So engage the students in character building activities, present for leadership roles, etc.
Alors, comment on crée un club
How
interactif?
do you create an internet
Donc,
club?
première chose, bien entendu, il
First thing, of
faut
course,
un club
you
parrain,
need
comme je vous l'ai dit tout à l'heure.
a sponsor.
On peut s'adresser donc pour
You,
les Early Act
in
aux
terms of early
différentes
act,
écoles donc, du
you
territoire,
can look at
donc
different schools
pour
across the region
les
where
clubs Rotary.
there's a
Donc,
Rotary
ça veut
club
dire
in the
qu'il
same
faut avoir des
district.
réunions avec les
So
responsables
there
des
must
écoles.
be
Mais après
a
aussi,
meeting with
c'est le
the
cas
administrative school,
principalement pour le
but
territoire français
and
parce
especially in the
on
case
n'a pas
of the
encore
French
réussi
territories,
à
since we
créer
have not yet
des
succeeded
Rotaract
in
de
creating
l'association qui
clubs in the same
dans tous les
way
territoires
as it's being
anglophones.
done in the
Il
English
faut
territories, you can
créer des clubs à partir
create
des
clubs
enfants des
with
enfants des membres
with
rotariens ou
children
des
who
membres
are
sympathisants.
children
Rien
of
n'empêche de pouvoir
Rotarians.
créer ces clubs de toute façon.
There's nothing to
Ce qu'il
stop you to
faut,
create
il faut
using children who
absolument
are members of
que le
Rotary.
club
So you must
ait un parrain.
absolutely,
Continue.
the club must have a sponsor.
Qu'est-ce qu'on va leur demander à ces enfants? On va
So
leur
what are you going to
demander
ask the
de
children to do?
réaliser
You're going
3
to ask
projets
them
par
to
an.
complete 3 projects a
Un
year,
projet pour l'école,
one for the
un
school,
projet pour la communauté
one in the
et un
community,
projet qui va favoriser la compréhension à l'international.
and one in
Pendant
the
l'exercice
international domain.
de DJ Débit, on avait même imaginé qu'on aurait pu
So
créer une action qui
we would
soit
have thought
commune
that there could be
à
a
l'ensemble
further
des clubs du district.
action linking all the
Alors,
clubs
je ne
in the
l'ai pas dit,
district.
mais on a à peu près on
So
a
we
11
have
clubs
approximately 11
Early Act sur
early act
notre
clubs
district.
in our
Et
district,
vraiment, l'idée, c'est qu'on puisse
and
au
the
moins
idea
avoir un
is to
club par
have
territoire.
at least
Le
one club
territoire
per
qu'on choisit,
territory.
ça reste
The
Trinidad.
the
Il y en a
territory where
un
there are most clubs
également
is Trinidad.
à
There's
Barbade.
one in Barbados.
En début d'année, je sais
At the start of the
que
year,
des
I
personnes
know that
d'Antigua m'avaient
persons in
contacté. Je sais qu'ils
Antigua
étaient
contacted
en train de le
me.
faire, mais je n'ai pas eu de suite à cela.
They wanted to start a
On a
club,
un
but there's
club
been no follow-up.
également en
There's also
Martinique.
a club in
Et ma
Martinique.
grande joie, ce serait qu'on en ait un
And
également en
my
Guadeloupe.
idea is to have one also
Quand
in
vous allez
Guadeloupe
vraiment
and why
dans
not
des petits
in French
territoires,
Guyana?
il y en a
But the
au
objective
moins
is to
un sur
create
chaque
at
territoire.
least one club in each
Je vous
territory,
laisse
in each
continuer.
island.
Alors, bien entendu, au même
So,
titre
of course, in the same
club
way
Interact, un
that
club
an
Rotaract ou un
Interact
club
and a
Rotary,
Rotary club,
il y a
even a
toute
Rotary
une
club,
organisation.
there's an organizational
Il
structure,
est important que le parrain
and it's
soit très proche
important that the sponsor be
de
very
ce club
close
pour
to the
pouvoir
club in
veiller
order to be
à ce
able to
que la
supervise,
création
to
se fasse dans les
ensure
règles de
that
l'art.
the formation of this
Comme je
club
vous l'ai dit,
is
donc, il
done
nécessite bien
in
entendu une
conformity with the
rencontre
rules.
avec les représentants des parents d'élèves, avec le personnel
The
de
sponsor
l'école,
must meet with
afin
the
qu'on
school
puisse
admin,
adopter et mettre
with the
en place
parents, and
ce
make sure to
projet.
put in to make this project work.
Vas-y.
Go on.
On a vu ça, pardon.
So we've already looked at this.
Donc, les enfants auront également
So
une
the
réunion,
children
on l'espère,
also
annuelle
have
tous les mois.
at least
Tous
one
les
meeting
mois,
a
pardon.
month.
La création repose sur les mêmes principes que le Rotary. On
So
a
the foundation is the same as rugby. Their rules, their bylaws,
Donc, sur
and their
l'organisation, on
meetings.
n'invente rien,
So
tout existe déjà et l'idée, c'est de le faire le plus tôt possible.
oh, la connexion n'est pas très
Comme je
bonne.
vous
But role
disais,
sponsor is
donc,
an
le
important
rôle
one.
du
Their
parrain, il est
advisors.
très, très important puisqu'en fait,
The
il
role of
est
sponsor is
conseiller, il est
important
le
because he's an advisor.
facilitateur et c'est
He's a
un modèle et un
facilitator.
mentor également pour les
He's
enfants.
also a
Donc,
role
ils vont
model
souvent
and a
s'appuyer
mentor for
sur
the
lui et poser
children.
des questions.
So they're gonna depend on him. They're gonna be asking him questions and seeking advice.
Et à la demande de DJ
At the
Soraya,
request
on
of DG
souhaiterait mettre en place
Soraya, we hope to
un
put in
prix
place
d'excellence Early Act.
an award of
C'est une
excellence,
façon
an early
certainement de
excellence
motiver
award,
davantage
by way
la création de ces
of
clubs, au même
motivating the
titre
creation
que
of
ce qui
these
a été
clubs
fait
in the same way
pour Interact depuis 4
as
ans.
was done
Et
for
donc, on
Interact for the
espère qu'avec
last
un
4
peu plus
years.
de jeunes, on fera quelque chose d'un peu plus
So
gros. Parce que
we
c'est vrai
are
que
trying to do something for the younger
le
ones,
prix d'excellence
because
Interact
the
est très
award
très
of
long.
excellence Interact
Mais l'idée, c'est
is a big
d'imaginer
one,
quelque chose de
but
plus
it
court
is
et
to
de
imagine
réalisable.
something which is a little shorter
L'idée, ce n'est pas
for the
non
younger
plus
one. The idea is
d'équiper
not
les enfants
to turn the children off by having long meetings and so on. It's really to little by little to integrate them into a model which is very much like Rotary, which is the same as what obtains in Rotaract and Interact. So little by little, it should be a gentle movement, interactive, pleasant, so that the children really want to not only to have meetings, to make decisions, or to run projects, but also to do these actions in an environment that is pleasant. So there you go. So roughly, I think I've told you everything. I thank you. If you have questions, I am there to respond to these questions. Thank you, Jean-Marc.
Alors,
So,
il y a éventuellement des questions.
are there any questions?
Alors, on traitera peut-être les questions à la
We
fin,
will
je
perhaps
pense,
look
parce qu'il y aura
respond to the questions at
qui
the
est
end,
prévu,
since there's a session
pour les questions.
for Q&A.
À ce moment-là.
So we'll
Merci.
handle questions at that point in time.
a bien compris parce que c'était surtout ça.
Was what I said clear?
Everybody
Understood what was said?
About early acts. And we will certainly have the questions at the end of the presentation.
Merci Jean-Marc.
Merci PDG Dominique pour cette présentation des clubs Early Act, et on a bien noté cet objectif de voir tous les territoires de notre district accueillir à l'avenir un club Early Act pour l'année prochaine. Ça serait un bel objectif, et donc il y a de quoi faire, vu qu'il y a encore des territoires qui ne sont pas pourvus.
The territory that do not have it yet. We are now going to...
Daniel est membre senior de l'American Society for Quality, l'ASQ, et ingénieur qualité certifié. Il est également titulaire de nombreux diplômes en ingénierie mécanique.
All diplomas in mechanical engineering, production engineering.
Abraham compte plus de 25 ans d'expérience dans le domaine de la qualité et des opérations, où il a
In the
travaillé
quality and operation environment,
et d'autres
where he worked at a major steel plant and other petrochemical facilities in Trinidad, holding various senior managerial positions. In the Rotary, he is a member of the Rotary Club of Chaguanas since 2006. He's held different positions: secretary, director, president from 2007, and in 2012, he was director of international service. He has been president from 2019 to 2020. Please welcome Abraham.
Thank you. So good night, everyone. And previous protocols established is observed. So my presentation this afternoon is going to focus on Interact. Let me get it up here. And there are 4 aspects of Interact that I will share some information on. So these are, first of all, I would give an overview of the current state of Interact in our District 7030. Then I'm going to give a brief explanation also as to how you can start an Interact club, whether you have one or you don't have one yet. I will introduce the District Interact Council and what it means for our district. And then I'm going to share briefly what our Interact plans are for 2025 and 2026. So let's start by looking at the current state of Interact in our district. There are currently, as of data from RI's, let me just get this out. Data from RI's database is showing that we have 86 Interact clubs in our district, of which this has to be updated a little bit because there's a slight error. of the database. We have 80 school-based clubs and 6 community-based clubs. And this little chart shows where these clubs are located by territory. And as you can see from this, the majority of Interact clubs naturally is from Trinidad because we have the higher proportion of Rotary clubs here. The next slide shows how Interact has grown in our district over the last 5 years, so in fact 2020 to this current year. And as you can see, there has been a steady growth of new Interact clubs coming on year after year. So we are on the right trajectory in terms of getting more Interact clubs within our district. We do have some ways to go, but as you can see here, there are more Interact clubs now than we have Rotary clubs in our district. So this is a really good indicator of how we need to continue growing Interact in our district. This next slide gives a picture of the number of clubs, Rotary clubs that we have in our district, which is 77, and the number of those clubs that have sponsored Interact clubs. And as you can see, there is a bit of a disparity here in that there are 21 clubs in our district that has not sponsored an Interact club. We also have several clubs that maybe just one Interact club. So there is quite a lot of room for growth within our district in getting new Interact clubs going. So this is an appeal for those clubs that do not have an Interact club sponsored. You may want to look at how you can get that going. So I'm going to share with you now how we can go about starting an Interact club. Many persons think that it's a huge undertaking to get an Interact club started. So I'm going to share with you a few steps which is going to outline the steps that are involved. So the first thing is, before you contemplate sponsoring an Interact club, you got to determine what is your level of commitment to youth service. As the previous speaker, well, the introduction actually, it was mentioned that one of the 5 avenues of service is youth service. And when we commit ourselves as Rotarians, and one of the responsibilities of our club is to support all 5 avenues of service within Rotary. So there is a commitment to support youth service. Interact is one such program within our youth service, The other, I would say, goal or something you should consider in starting an Interact club, it's your contribution to developing future leaders. We all know that over the years, Rotary membership worldwide has more or less stagnated to some extent. So this is our opportunity to invest in our youths so that in years to come, there is going to be succession, there is going to be continuity to support Rotary. So that's our, I would say, long-term investment in sponsoring Interact clubs and getting more involved with interactors. Your involvement also provides an opportunity to develop young leaders. You can mentor them, you can provide opportunities for them to grow, not only within Interact, but even within their communities. So there are many benefits for a Rotary Club to consider, or there are many reasons why a Rotary Club would consider sponsoring an Interact Club. So let's look at a few steps that's involved in getting an Interact Club going. The first thing that you need to do is within the club itself, each Rotary Club that wants to support Interact, you got to establish support, whether it is a subcommittee within your club, led by your maybe youth services chairperson or director, depends on how your club is set up. You want to ensure that the entire club is behind sponsoring a Rotary Club. That's really important at the onset. Once you agree that yes, we want to go forward with sponsoring an Interact Club, then you will want to identify what will be the base of that club. Is it going to be school-based or is it going to be community-based? There are some consideration whether it is community, whether it is school-based in terms of how the club is supported and administered subsequently. So making that decision early will guide how your Rotary Club goes about the business of chartering and supporting that Interact Club going forward. Once you have made that decision, then the third step would be you will want to sensitize prospective members, whether it is community-based or whether it is school-based. So you may want to convene some informational meetings that would enlighten prospective members as to what Rotary is, what Interact is about, what are the benefits, why they should get involved. And that should be done in conjunction with, if it's a school-based club, of course, teachers, maybe the principal of the school, so that you can get their buy-in and they would have the endorsement of the club when it is so organized. So you may have one meeting, more than one meeting. I would suggest you also engage the students themselves to promote once they have the knowledge, once they get information. You may also want to engage the students to also assist with, doing some of the promotion amongst their peers. And for them to encourage and to whip up support. Once we have that interested group, then you will want to convene some organizational meetings now. So this is where we're moving from just having interested or prospective members to say, hey, let's get serious about this and set up, a club. So your organizational meetings would focus on things like your bylaws, the Interact club constitution, and any other documentation that would guide how the club would operate going forward. Once members or prospective members and students are sensitized to, hey, this is what goes along with having an Interact Club, then the next step would be to prepare the necessary documentation, or specifically the Interact certification form. And that certification form would contain relevant information on the name of the club, the location, the address, demographic information, as well as information on the advisor, which is one of the requirements in setting up an Interact Club. You must have an advisor, whether it is one of the teachers of the school or whether it is a Rotarian advisor. But you must have an adult that's attached to the Interact Club that would provide guidance, and that information has to be submitted as part of the application to have the club certified or chartered. You submit, once the form is completed, it must be signed off by the sponsoring club president, as well as endorsed by the district governor, and then this is submitted to Rotary International. And in a few weeks' time, they usually pretty timely in how they respond uh, to certification applications. They will respond by providing the charter for the new Interact Club. It's advisable to promote the chartering of that club within the school or within the community so that everyone is aware that, hey, a new Interact Club exists. I think that ceremony should be pumped, for want of a better term. Of course, if it's within the school confines, it should be, done against that setting. And then lastly, you have now sponsored an Interact Club. That's not the end of it. Your responsibility as a sponsor club is to provide whatever support is required for the club. So setting up an Interact Club is not very onerous, it's not very difficult. However, you need to make that commitment as a Rotary Club that we want to support Interact. And there are some really good resources that's readily available. I think this would be put into the chat so you can download these. So or everything that you need to know about setting up an Interact Club, you can get from these reference documents. The next aspect of Interact that I want to touch on would be our District Interact Council. And I'm going to do a quick poll, and Tanya, you can help me here. Let's see how many of you on this call this evening is aware that Interact Council has been established within our district. Let's take a 30-second time out.
Abraham,
Yes?
we're going to have to do the poll in the comment in the chat.
Questions? Yes, yes. Okay.
Okay, great.
All right. So Tanya, we need a few seconds to respond. Okay, perfect.
So please, everyone look for the chat and respond either yes or no about whether you are aware of the Interact Council.
Okay, so I see some responses coming in. I'll take a quick glance. All right. Wonderful. Okay, good. So we will take a pause there. I know some of you all may have had a chance, but I've taken a glimpse of what the responses are in the chat. And I see a mixture of yeses and nos. And that's informative for us because it means that we have to do a better job at communicating the Interact Council and its establishment. So this session, or the next few slides, would give you a little insight. For those of you all who said no, would give you an insight as to what the council is about. And it's something that is connected to RI's Code of Policies, and it says, in a district where you have 2 or more Interact clubs, a district Interact representative may be elected from amongst its membership. And it's very similar to Rotary, and by extension, the district governor of Rotary clubs in our district. So there is some support from RI with respect to having an elected district Interact representative. So to give you a little idea as to where we came from, this was just a quick walkthrough of how the council evolved to what it is now. And as you can see from this little timeline here, it's something that has been in discussion, is something that has been in the process of being set up as far back as August in 2023, when we attended a presentation. This is under the stewardship, of course, of DG Soraya during her chairmanship of Interact in our district. So we attended a brief presentation in August 2023 where the Worldwide Interact Chairs Association, a presentation was made about setting up Interact Committee, setting up an Interact Council. So it could have been even before that. I think DGE Soraya would have been toying with the idea that, hey, this is something that we needed to do. Coming out of that, and I must pay, I must give kudos to DGE Soraya for drafting the guidelines, the initial guidelines for our Interact Council. So that was done. And then once the guidelines were reviewed, they were approved within the district, then we solicited applications to fill the positions established for the Interact Council. We sent that out to all clubs, all sponsor clubs. We received this notification, and I would say, unfortunately, the response from sponsor clubs were not great at the time. And this is something we would really like to, to fix going forward, where Interact is concerned. We did screening in November 2024 of the 23 positions that were established for the council. We were able to fill 18 of those positions. And then in December 2024, we had our first introductory meeting with the District Interact Committee and our District Interact Council. And since then, since the start of, this year, plans are afoot. We will share some more information as to what's happening to the council during our district conference. So let me just share some further information about what the council is about. So first of all, the District Interact Council is a working group comprised of interactors 15 to 18, and we have selected that age group, so that persons who would have had the opportunity to serve or to be part of the Interact clubs within their schools or community. The main purpose of the council is to provide support to and drive the District Interact program on behalf of the Interact community, including the District Interact Committee. The council is led by a District Interact representative, very similar to what we have for Rotary. And if you want to think about it as our district, a district governor at the Rotary level. The council works alongside the District Interact Committee, which comprises of Rotarians led by a District Interact chair, myself, and we also have support from a Rotarian as an ex officio member on the council who would provide some oversight and guidance to the council. So there is some structure to the council. Several benefits of setting up this Interact Council. It provides an opportunity for interactors to serve at the district level in various leadership roles. It fosters youth development and leadership. So it's really giving them the opportunity to have a bigger voice where Interact is concerned, and driving Interact forward in years to come. It encourages a deeper sense of voluntarism in Rotary. We're hoping that through the council, because of the awareness that is going to be created, we're going to have more youths involved and interested in Rotary. And the council will also serve to connect Interact, Rotaract, and to some extent now earlier. A few expectations of the council. First of all, we expect that the council would lead, drive, organize district-wide events, of course, under the oversight of the Interact Committee, assist in maintaining the vibrancy of Interact through continuous engagement. We hope that the council would be the contact points or the connecting points for Interact throughout our district. We hope that the council also would raise awareness, including fundraising for both local as well as global causes. And the council is also expected to provide support for Interact clubs within our district. So as I close, that was intended for those persons who said that they were not very familiar with the District Interact Council. It is established, albeit the latter part of the year, but we think we are well positioned for strengthening the council in the next year and in years to come, of course, with your support. So what are some of our major goals for Interact for 2025, 2026? Goal number one, and I refer to this as Interact 100. I indicated that we are currently at 86 clubs within our district. We have 21 Rotary clubs that have not sponsored an Interact club, and we have quite a bit of Rotary clubs that have only sponsored one Interact club within our district. So absolutely, we don't see any reason why we cannot hit 100 Interact clubs in 2025, 2026. And we are looking forward to your support as incoming officers for your respective clubs to give us, your full support as we go after this achievement. The next goal is going to be zero club termination. Unfortunately, over the last 5 years, we had the 27 Interact clubs were terminated, and there are different reasons. However, the most common, apart from clubs being inactive, the next major category for termination has been the lack of updating of Interact advisor information. Rotary International has a policy. If you don't update your advisor information on the RI portal, for the most 2 years, then your Interact clubs will be suspended. And if it still has not been updated, they will be terminated. We have had to deal with some suspended clubs this year, and I think we have worked through those. We have reached out to those clubs. So please, as incoming, officers for your clubs, please be aware that this is one of your responsibilities if you have an Interact club to ensure that the advisor information is updated. Another goal would be to establish a district-wide Interact project. We have not conceptualized exactly what it's going to be, but it's really a project that's going to cut across Interact within our district. So it's going to be a very large scale project, and we hope to get many, if not all, clubs engaged in supporting this project. And then the fourth major goal that we have this year, 2025, 2026, is to have inter-district connections for at least 30% of our clubs. What we mean by this is that we want to have district-centric Interact clubs connect with clubs outside of our district. We have done so already. This year, we were able to make connections with clubs out in District 6970, District 6930, District 5450, I think it is. So we have started the process. And the excitement that we see with those local clubs or district-centric clubs that have made that connection is unbelievable. And we think this is something that we would really like to continue going into the new Interact year. So those are our major goals for 2025, 2026, and we do look forward to your support towards achieving these goals. I'm going to end by just leaving you with a really interesting quote that I came across by famous author Robert Louis Stevenson. And he says, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant." So I implore all Rotary clubs in our district, let's continue planting seeds. Earliac, Interact, Rotaract to support our youth programs in District 7030. So thank you very much. I think we may have questions at the end.
Merci. Merci beaucoup, Past Assistant Governor Abraham, pour cette belle présentation et qui, j'en suis certain,
Thank you,
donnera de
Abraham, for
bonnes
this lovely
idées.
presentation, which has lots of lovely ideas.
Je vais me mettre sur le canal français.
I'm going to go to the French channel.
Le double texte.
so that you have the text twice. I'm sure that Abraham has lots of wonderful ideas for club. I've noticed that there are 31 clubs who have not yet sponsored their Interact Club. And I'm certain that we have some wonderful ideas for the future presidents from the seminar. I've also noted the possibility of working Interact clubs using this council, which will allow Interact clubs in different territories to work together. So again, only great ideas for working together with the Interact clubs. Let us go now to know our Rotary friends. In order to do this, we have the pleasure of welcoming Crystal Mohammed, who is in charge of Rotary for the new year. Crystal has had several posts, leadership posts of her life, starting with the president of her Schools Explorer Club at the age of 10. She is a proud graduate of St. Joseph Convent in San Fernando, a school which, in her opinion, helped to shape her ethics and her morals in terms of leadership. She has a Bachelor of Science in National Relations with a specialization in criminology, during which she has learned to apply her skills in terms of leadership across countries and cultures. After this, she was selected to participate in a scholarship on disaster preparedness offered by the Organization of American States and the Chilean government. Through this, she's able to create a nexus between her studies and her life as a Rotary actor by leading District 730 in its response to disaster management and preparedness, mitigation, and survival. This ethics was exemplified when she led the response of the District 730 to the volcanic eruption in St. Vincent, after which she received a Paul Harris Fellow for her leadership skills. She's also been a mentor for youth in various platforms and programs. Furthermore, she has pursued an MBA in logistics and supply chain management, after which her exemplary management skills allowed her to be an assistant MBA reviewer to help other students to realize their competencies. She currently works at one of Trinidad and Tobago's for the utility companies in Trinidad and Tobago, where she is responsible for purchasing and procurement, and this is in alignment with the guidelines of the national United Nations. Of course, her leadership is evidence because she has been the founding president of the Club of San Fernando South, and she's also served at a level of district as president for the Disaster Preparedness Committee, representing the government on 2 occasions, in charge of responsible for recognizing and will also be representative at the district level in 2025 to 2026. We thank Crystal for her presentation of Rotary, Crystal Mohammed.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So thanks for having me. I'm gonna just share my presentation and get into it. Sorry, all protocols observed. And I am just gonna share now. Okay. Okay, great. So, this presentation was conceptualized by both District Rotary Chair Cavan St. Bryce and myself. We worked on a presentation together. So I am a presenter. I'm going to be a District Rotary rep in the next Rotary International year. So the first thing we're going to start to talk about is to give you all a little insight on...
Please, Crystal, before you continue, can you show us your full screen? Because right now we're seeing your upcoming slides as well.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Do the slideshow and then...
Okay, my bad. Okay, great. Is it better now? Okay. So we're going to delve a bit into the history of Rotaract. So for those who are not aware and for those who are aware, this is just a little reminder, but for those who are not aware, this is how Rotaract started. It was officially inaugurated in 1968 under the Rotary International President Luther Hodges, and the first Rotaract club was the University of North Carolina. However, this doesn't mean that Rotarians were only delving into youth programs in 1968. They would actually started in the 1920s as they were sponsoring similar organizations for young adults since then. So the reason why Rotaract was created was to have a transition from Interact to Rotaract to Rotary. So Interact actually existed before Rotaract, and Rotarians wanted to find a way in which they could create continuity. So that is the reason why Rotaract was essentially created. So it was a way to extend the relationship with interactors. And as the name suggests, Rotaract is a combination of the words Rotary and action, and also a combination of the name Rotary and Interact. So it really embodies the whole reason why Rotaract was created in a sense. So when we look at Elevate Rotaract, right? In 2019, Rotary's Council on Legislation approved the whole notion of Elevate Rotaract to make Rotary more appealing to young professionals. So I do realize that since we had Elevate Rotaract, a lot of Rotarians were confused about, what is Elevate Rotaract? It's not a separation of Rotaract and Rotary, but really it's a call for closer partnership. It's really for more mutual work together, more collaboration, more respect for each other, and just really to encourage young professionals into the program so that they can in turn become Rotarians in the years to come. So with Elevate Rotaract, the upper age limit was removed in hopes to allow Rotaractors to learn more about Rotary to become strong Rotarians. So what had happened was that they saw that the age limit of 30 was not, it wasn't really substantial for the growth of Rotary, because you had a lot of persons coming into Rotary and they didn't really fully understand Rotary because they were still youthful. So one of the reasons why they removed the age limit was essentially to allow Rotaractors to transition into Rotary when they felt more comfortable to do so, and not because, you turn 30 and, it's just what you have to do after you turn 30, but really when you feel as though you are ready to become a Rotarian. So with Elevate Rotaract clubs are able to sponsor themselves, so they no longer need sponsor Rotary clubs. But I feel like saying the word need might be a bit of a place. I would say that it's not necessary that they have to have a sponsor Rotary club, but they could sponsor themselves, and they could actually now sponsor Rotary clubs. So Rotaract clubs could sponsor Rotary clubs, Rotaract clubs could sponsor Interact clubs. So Rotaract has a bit more of autonomy in Rotary International with the whole aspect of Elevate Rotaract. So with Elevate Rotaract, Rotarians are now encouraged to include Rotaractors in district committees. So you will have like the environmental committee, you'll have the mental health committee, so it's encouraged that you have Rotaract representation at this level with the whole aspect of Elevate Rotaract. Rotaractors are now also eligible for receiving grants from Rotary International. This is possible because they now pay RI dues. So Rotaractors pay $5 for university-based clubs and $8 for community-based clubs.
Crystal, as you move on to your next slide, we're not seeing the subsequent slides. We're still on the first one. And if you could again try to show us, maximize your screen, because we're still seeing your upcoming slides.
I have no idea why it's doing that. I'm sorry. Let me check.
Sure, thank you.
Are you seeing it better now?
Um,
Are you seeing the slide with Elevate Rotaract?
no, we're still seeing your very first slide with the map of the clubs. Perhaps you can close off the PowerPoint and start it again, or close your sharing and start again.
Okay, are you seeing it better now?
No, same thing. If you click on slideshow, and then it should allow you to
It's on
start
slide.
from a specific.
From now? Let me just try and share my screen 1 second.
Okay.
Let me just share the entire screen. Are you seeing it now?
Yes.
We're seeing the first page. Let's progress and see if we can catch up. Nice. History of Rotaract is what we're seeing now. Keep going.
Okay, so my apologies. I'll just give you all a quick overview. So we talked about the history of Rotaract, where it would have started in 1968. The first club was the University of North Carolina, and Rotary was actually doing sponsoring youth organizations since 1920, so it was not limited to Rotaract in 1968. So the reason it was created was to transition interactors to Rotarians. And the word Rotaract is a combination of Rotary in action and Rotary and Interact, which really elucidates the whole idea of the transition. So we were talking about the council legislation with regards to Elevate Rotaract, which was to make Rotary more appealing to young professionals. So we spoke also about it's not a separation of Rotaract and Rotary, but a closer partnership. The upper age limit was removed in hopes that Rotaractors will learn more about Rotary, and we discussed the fact that the age limit was a bit too harsh, and we saw that Rotaractors who transitioned into Rotarians at the age of 30 were not ready. So the whole idea of removing the age limit was to ensure that they were able to be strong Rotarians at that transition. Okay, so we also spoke about Rotaractors are now able to sponsor Rotary clubs, also sponsor other Rotaract clubs. You could sponsor Interact clubs as well. The district is encouraged to include Rotaractors at the district committee level, and Rotaractors are now eligible for receiving grants from Rotary International because they now pay Rotary International dues of $5 for university-based clubs and $8 for community-based clubs. The aim is to increase the number of reported Rotaractors who join Rotary clubs. That is the aim of Elevate Rotaract. It's really to make the whole atmosphere of Rotary more welcoming to the young professionals so that they could feel as though Rotaract is developing them, and it will be more appealing for them to join Rotary. So Rotary International hopes to increase the number of Rotaractors to 1 million by 2029, which is pretty soon, so we definitely need to work on increasing the number of members in our district as well as chartering new Rotaract clubs. So what does Elevate Rotaract mean for Rotary? So we've seen that a lot of Rotarians, they don't really understand fully what is Elevate Rotaract. You always hear an Elevate Rotaract, but nobody understands, what are the implications of Elevate Rotaract. So we would have discussed its increased collaboration and respect for each other. It does not mean that support is no longer needed. It means that your support is now needed more than ever, because with Elevate Rotaract, it calls for you to collaborate even more with Rotaract and create a supportive environment in which they would want to transition into Rotarians. So, Rotarians are now like an elder brother and sister to Rotaractors. Before, they would have been like, a mom or dad, a uncle or aunt. So with Elevate Rotaract, like a bigger sibling, essentially. I hope that kind of clears it up with regards to the kind of relationship that is required moving forward. So we're going to look at some Rotary International board decisions recently and what are the implications with Rotary and Rotaract. So in February 2025, there was a decision where it encouraged Rotaract and Rotary leaders to support youth representatives to attend local, district, regional, and international Rotary conferences to meet and network with attendees, present about their projects and activities, and to deepen their connection to Rotary. So it's really essential that Rotary provides a level of support for Rotaract as well, because this is the whole idea of creating a more welcoming environment and collaborating even more. So Rotary clubs are encouraged to support their Rotaractors to attend these events so that they can learn about Rotary and contribute to their communities, contribute to their Rotaract clubs, and essentially develop the whole umbrella of their sponsor club. So, when Rotaractors go to these conferences and they learn about strategies and they are able to be strong Rotaractors, they then work with interactors who eventually want to become Rotaractors, and with the support from Rotarians, these Rotaractors really have an appreciation of becoming Rotarians eventually, because they see that, it's something sustainable. They see the network being beneficial, and it's really represents a chain of continuity for Rotary International to increase the number of Rotarians and Rotaractors, as well as, more clubs, more engagement, the whole health of Rotary International, where, we'll seek to have more sustainable impact. In October 2024, it was agreed that the purpose of Rotaract is to give young leaders the unparalleled opportunity to develop their skills, and further, in support of this purpose, they encourage clubs to put the following policy into practice. So the policy is that clubs should seek out past Rotaractors and younger persons who are qualified for membership. So we discussed the fact that Rotaract was created to transition interactors to Rotaractors. Now it's the responsibility of Rotarians to ensure that they now go to their past Rotaractors, to have them become Rotarians, because the point of Rotaract is to get more Rotarians. So clubs should find methods of increasing the appeal of membership to young men and women who demonstrate good character, integrity, and leadership, and possess good reputation with their business profession, occupation, the community, and are willing to serve in the community or around the world. The RI Board decision is also asking clubs to waive dues and admission fees to members under the age of 35. That would essentially also help younger persons develop an appreciation for Rotary International and increase the retention levels. So in addition, clubs may provide payment of district dues to new members in this age group, and or by action at an assembly or conference, districts may reduce the per capita district dues to new members in this age group. So it's definitely something for us to look at. We need to think of it more as an investment. So we are investing in the youth for sustainable impact in the future. So just some statistics. In March 2024, we had 45 clubs and 840 members. Unfortunately, I know it's a bit disheartening to see we would have chartered 2 more clubs. However, we decreased to 707 members. It is something definitely to look at, and we will definitely work on it as a district. We'll have to delve into some insights. But we do note that, at this age between 18 to, let's say, around 35, 40, there are a lot of competing interests with persons at this age, and this is the time that they put their profession first. As a young adult, sometimes service might not be best, the most appealing thing, but you want to go out, you want to party. So what we need to do as Rotaract moving forward is to create a more appealing environment. We need to definitely look at ways in which we can increase the membership in terms of attracting new members as well as retention of members. So this is just a map of the Rotaract clubs we have in the district. We have 47 clubs right now, 707 members. There were two clubs that were chartered recently, one in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College. And we also had a new club in Suriname, building bridges, creating opportunities. We unfortunately do not have a club in Bonaire, but hopefully in this year we could achieve that goal, as well as look at chartering new clubs and increasing the membership of Rotaractors as well. So this is just a map, sorry, not a map, a chart that shows the DRRs by country, right? So we see where the leadership is coming from, mainly from Trinidad, where we have 12. Then we have St. Lucia, Guyana, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, Antigua. Then we have one each from Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, Martinique, Montserrat, and St. Kitts and Nevis. So the Rotarians who are looking in tonight and you have not had a DRR from your country as yet, it's definitely something to work towards, to work with your Rotaract club to develop the leadership so that they can represent your club, represent your country at the district level. So the average age of Rotaract DRRs, district Rotaract representatives, until this year, which is DRR Rolinzo, is 27.94. So we see that, the optimum age for leadership at the Rotaract level is 28 years. 28 years, really. So it's really 28 years in which, the Rotaractor actually peaks to be a DRR and assume the highest leadership position. Unfortunately, I am going to be 30, so I am an outlier to that 27, that 28. But we see the ratio as well, where we had more male district Rotaract representatives than female Rotaract representatives. However, it's a very close difference, and it's supposed to balance out because the next three DRRs are females. So the females will probably knock the males out there. So we're just going to look a bit at some of the projects that Rotaractors have been doing. So in terms of professional development, the Rotaract Club of Curacao did a first aid and CPR project. There you could see they're practicing their skills. We also have the Rotaract Club of Georgetown Central doing a read every day and discover pages of potential project with the kids. We have finance and fundraising, the Rotaract Club of Fresh from Suriname. They would have done a finance project, a walk with your dog 2.0, where they would have done like grooming, a pet show and stuff like that to raise funds. So it's really innovative, given that we have not seen much projects with animals like this. For club service, we had the Rotaract Club of Barbados, who did a beach please, the luau edition. So they look really nice in their luau team. We also have community service. I don't want to butcher the name of the project because I cannot speak French. So it's the Rotaract Club of Ile de Cayenne. I'm gonna just think it's Christmas related. So I know that they would have done the project in which they would have collected gifts, as well as raised funds for gifts, as well as treated the kids Christmas time. So there you could see an image of the kids coming together at the radio station to talk about the project. So that is the basic overview of Rotaract. If you have any, you could contact me at my email or WhatsApp me there. But do you have any questions? Well, I think we're taking questions at the end. So That's it for me.
Effectivement, il y aura un échange pour des questions à la fin des présentations.
There will be
Merci
an
beaucoup, Christelle, pour
question
toutes ces
session
précieuses
after the
informations.
presentation. Thank you
Nos
very
régions et
much
nos clubs
for this
Rotary savent
presentation,
ce qu'elles
Crystal,
doivent en termes de dynamisme et d'action au
for
club
what we have
Rotaract.
to do
Et je peux
to
te
make
promettre
it
que
more
les
dynamic.
clubs Rotaract ne sont pas que des petits frères ou des petites sœurs, ils sont véritablement des partenaires
Little brothers
des
and
clubs Rotary
sisters, they are
de nos régions.
partners of all
Face à
the
la baisse de
Rotary
l'effectif,
Club
je
of
tiens à
our
signaler,
region.
j'ai noté le dynamisme de territoires comme Trinidad ou Sainte-Lucie et aussi
Rate
le
of
lien qui doit se construire entre
membership,
les clubs
there
Rotaract
has
avec nos
been
clubs Interact dont nous parlions auparavant. Nous savons
to
aussi les difficultés à
establish
accueillir les
that
anciens
link. We know that
Rotaraciens
it
dans les
is
clubs Rotary, mais c'est
problem
aussi un axe de
to
réflexion important pour les nouveaux
also
présidents de clubs Rotary. Et
welcome
j'ai bien
the
noté tes
Rotaract
idées en
in
termes de
the Rotary
cotisation,
Club, and
par
I
exemple,
noted the
pour
ideas
faciliter le passage de
you
club
have
Rotaract vers
mentioned,
les clubs
such
Rotary.
as
Cette présentation
exemption
des
in
mouvements
terms of
pour les jeunes au sein du Rotary serait incomplète sans parler du programme RILA,
also
que va
we
nous
could not
présenter maintenant
do
Evangelina
without
Allen.
presenting
Evangelina Allen est née à
Wheeler,
Antigua,
Ryler,
d'une mère dominicaine et d'un père montserratien.
Allen
Considère comme une femme
presentation
caraïbe.
was
Elle est
born in
encore à la
Antigua
retraite
to a Dominican
et en
mother
2012,
and a Montserratian
et donc
father.
Evangelina
She
Allen a
considers
rejoint le
herself as
Rotary
a
Club
Caribbean
d'Antigua
woman.
et a reçu le prix
A
Étoile
banger,
montante en 2009.
she
Elle a
has earned the
été
Rising
responsable
Star
des programmes
Award
de son
in
club,
2009,
secrétaire pendant 4 années,
served her
trésorière
club as
pendant 2 années
program chair,
consécutives et présidente en 2016-2017. Elle a
as
également été gouverneure
treasurer
adjointe
for 2
de
consecutive
2020
years,
à
and she
2024.
also
Elle a été nommée
served as
présidente de
assistant
RILA
governor from
District en
2020 until
2025-2026,
2024.
qui se tiendra
Appointed
à
District
Antigua du
7030
14
Ryder
au
Chair
16
for
novembre. La vice-présidente
2025-26,
Evangelina
which
est
will be
surprise
held
aussi
in
de rencontrer
Antigua,
autant
November
d'Interaciens et de
14 to
représentants de
16,
différents
and
pays
she looks forward to
aussi
meeting
à
as
l'occasion
many
de
interactors
RILA
and
et qui
advisors
vous
as
promet un
possible.
RILA différent et
Promises
passionnant.
you
Je
that
demande
it
donc
will be a
d'accueillir
Ryder with a
Evangelina
difference.
Allen qui va donc nous parler
Asking you
de
now to
RILA
welcome
où j'espère tous nos clubs
Evangeline
pourront embarquer
Allen
des participants.
will talk about Ryla, and I hope that all our club will be able to send participants there.
Evangelina, it's up to you.
Thank you. Good evening, all. I'm actually waiting on my screen. Tanya, can you share my screen, please?
Yes, it's on its way up.
Thank you. Yes, good evening once again. I'm privileged to accept the protocols already established. So as mentioned before, RILA will be in Antigua this year under the theme Youth in Leadership, Embracing Challenges and Empowering Change. And the presentation tonight is actually marketing RILA, unlike the 2 previous presentations. Next screen, please. Next slide. So at RILA, we believe in the power of young leaders to shape the future. And this year's theme highlights the resilience, innovation, and determination of today's youth. Through interactive workshops, mentorship, and real-world problem solving, RILA equips young leaders with the confidence and skills to take on challenges and make a lasting impact. Are you ready to step up, inspire, and lead? Because we are. Next slide. So as mentioned before, RILA will definitely take place in Antigua Friday, November 14th to Sunday, November 16th. You are asked to mark it on your calendar, save the date. It's going to be a Ryla with a difference. It's actually creating history in Antigua because this will be the very first Ryla in person to be held in Antigua. And my committee and I promise you a weekend with a difference. Next slide. So next slide, the registration is 100 US per person. Very reasonable. Next slide, please. Yes, just to give you a backdrop about Antigua for those of you who will be coming for the first time. So it's one of two major islands that make up the Caribbean nation of Antigua and Barbuda, and it is known for its stunning beaches, its rich history, and vibrant culture. Located in the Eastern Caribbean, it is often called the land of 365 beaches, highlighting its pristine white sandy shores. And whenever it's a leap year, we find that extra beach for you. Oh, yes. Next slide. So our culture is a lively mix of African, British, and indigenous influences reflected in our music, cuisine, and festivals. Our greatest summer festival is Carnival, and that's a colorful celebration of freedom featuring calypso, steel pan, music, and elaborate costumes. Hint, hint, my favorite is Juve. Yes, cricket is also a beloved sport, with the island producing world-renowned players to include the country's lone national hero, Sir Alexander Vivian Richards. Next slide, please. So, for those attending Ryla, Antigua will provide an inspiring setting that combines natural beauty with valuable lessons. Okay, so the hotel selected is Courtland Hotel. From the pic, you can see that's actually the entrance and the dining area. Then we have the swimming pool and another area. And I can assure you, once you enter the premises of the hotel, you will be in tune with nature. It's an environmentally friendly hotel. You love it. Next, we have the rate, and the rates are very, very reasonable. They cannot be compared. The first chart for a single room, you will notice we have two totals. So the first total includes the 10% service charge, which we cannot get away from, breakfast and dinner. And that's only $159.50. And the second total includes the government taxes and the guest levy of $188.85. So we did a 3-night, 4-day stay below. As you can see, for a single room, it's $478.50 without the tax and $566.55 with the tax. A double room, $653.50 and with the tax, $758.97. Now we are advising you to, let's say, work with the tax. It is it's the committee's intention to apply for the waiver, but we cannot do at this time because we are waiting on other vendors and we have to apply in bulk, not like one. So to err on the side of caution and use that final total figure. 10 single rooms and 15 double rooms have been reserved. Now the single rooms can be converted into double, but that's how it stands for now, and there are also 3 triple rooms. Now, Courtland Hotel is on Expedia.com, but you will not be able to make the reservation on Expedia.com. In due course, the Google Forms will be sent out, and the reservation must be made via the Google form, and the committee in turn will pass it on to the hotel. The reason being, these are special rates that are being offered to Ryla. Next slide, please. So, again, based on the theme, youth in leadership, embracing challenges, and empowering change. These topics were strategically selected. The first one being ethical leadership, and that's one of the favorite of DGE Soraya, followed by mental health and emotional intelligence. Just a minute, please. Service leadership and budgeting, maximizing impact in your community. So social responsibility, speak to lead, the power of effective communication, digital integrity, mindset reset, and the final one, breaking the chain, the truth about narcotics. I have had the experience to attend a few of these, and I can tell you, once you are in Antigua, you will say it was good that I came. Very interesting topics. Next slide, please. So, in discussion with DGE Soraya, her request was for us to actually focus on service or a project where all our interactors can actually be involved. And so we came up with the idea of collaborating with the Adele School for Special Children. And one, we will be repainting the basketball court. We will be planting food trees, create a flower garden bordered by palm trees at the main entrance of the school, and creating a beautiful mural. At the top, we will have Together We Grow. In the middle will be a tree. At the bottom will be several hands pointing towards the tree, symbolizing growth, unity, and inclusivity. The next project, well, this is a photo of the Adele School for Special Children. And the next service project is a book drive. But you know, we like to have our fancy names. So it is termed Books Across Borders. And this is a previous slide, please. Go back. Go back, please.
Sorry, Evangeline, it's only letting me go forward.
Ah,
Yeah.
just a minute. Okay. Just a minute, please. Trying to get it because it's important information. Okay, I will go from.
Evangeline?
Yes.
I'm going to bring it up while you speak. So go continue on. I'll bring it up in a moment.
I am going to. I'm going to go from memory, Books Across Borders. It's actually a service project where each interactor will be advised to bring a book to Rilo. It's coming up for me. Yeah, so it's a district 7030 Ryler initiative aimed at fostering literacy, cultural exchange, and global unity among young leaders. And with Ryler set to take place in Antigua, we invite all participants to bring a book from their respective countries to share in the event. The goal is to create a diverse collection of books representing the cultures, history, and stories of our district, enabling young minds to engage their perspectives and build a bridge of knowledge across borders. The books can be new or used. Why it matters? Because first of all, it will promote literacy and education, and that is one of the areas of focus for Ryler. It will encourage cultural appreciation and exchange. It will strengthen bonds among youths across the district, and most of all, it will leave a lasting impact beyond Ryler. So, we want you to spread the word and encourage fellow Rotarians, Rotaractors, and Interactors. And let me say, prior to November 2025, I thought Ryler was for Interactors only. But I had the opportunity to attend Ryler in Trinidad, and I realized it's just as beneficial to adults as well as Rotaractors, and more so the Interactors. So spread the word again and encourage Rotarians, Rotaractors, and Interactors to participate. And together, we will build a bridge of knowledge across borders as we unite. And what I failed to mention is that once the books are collected, the presentation will be made to the country's public library, the director of the country's public library. We thought it was best to donate it to the library where all will benefit rather than just one particular school. So, continuing our Ryler Service Initiative in Antigua, we are excited about the collaboration with the school, and we know that it can only serve to create a lasting impact. And so a peace pole will also be installed at the school, symbolizing our shared hope for a more peaceful and united world. The peace pole will also serve as a constant reminder to all who visit of the importance of kindness, empathy, and understanding. Together, we are planting the seeds of peace, growth, and positive change, not just for today, but for generations to come again as we unite for good. So you will notice our committee from the Antigua side is made up with quite a few members, and naturally so, because Ryler will be held in Antigua. We have members from the Rotary Club of Antigua, our sister club, the Rotary Club of Antigua Sundown, and we also have quite a few Rotaractors. We also have members from the district, and these members were strategically selected. We have from Trinidad and Tobago, AG Dina and PE Anne-Marie, St. Kitts, Past Assistant Governor Leah, the Dutch Islands, Rotarian Stewart, and Guyana, Rotarian Wahida, Suriname, Rotarian Yvonne, St. Vincent, Rotarian Dr. Janelle Allen, Grenada, Rotarian Gabriel, and from the French Islands, PP Karina. These members will ensure that our attendance to Ryler will be boosted. And again, we hope to at least not double the numbers, but at least have a greater attendance over last year's Ryler. And let me thank all the committee members for their input, for giving out their time, for volunteering to make Ryler where we are presently, and at the end to have a successful and even better Ryler. And on that note, I wish to Thank you for your time. And here ends the presentation.
Thank you. A huge thank you, Ejalise Allen, for this beautiful presentation. And every club should attempt to send members. They shall have the pleasure of discovering Antigua at the same time. I pass over to our district trainer, Tanya Western, who is going to feed your questions so that our different presenters can respond to these questions. Tanya, I invite you to speak.
Thank you very much. So the first question that we have goes to PDG Dominique. Please, we have a question asking about whether the early act pins will be available at conference, and if not, where can we access them?
Jean-Marc, excuse-moi, j'avais pas mis la traduction.
C'est le PIN de reconnaissance pour la Early Act, Dominique.
Oui.
PIN de Rotary pour la Interact. Early Act.
Early Act.
Vous pouvez reprendre, j'ai pas entendu, ça coupe.
C'est est-ce qu'il y a un PIN pour le Rotary pour la Early Act? Comme nous avons Rotary, est-ce qu'il y a un PIN et si oui, où on peut acheter?
Alors, à ma connaissance, j'ai pas de pin.
I don't have any pins.
Les insignes sont remises en général par
The pins are normally handed over by the governor. When the governor visits the territories, if he meets with clubs, normally he would hand out pins, as we would do when we meet Rotaractors. But if there's a pin, it would be the same as what Rotary members receive in other clubs. There isn't a specific pin, if that's your question.
Oui, c'est ça la question. Mais
that's my question.
Le gouverneur Debbie a dit
Governor Debbie said that there would be pins
quand elle a visité la Dominique.
when she visited Dominica. Pins.
C'est elle qui l'a dit, c'est elle qui va les remettre.
If she said so, but then she's the one who can hand them out. But I don't have any.
Ouais, mais je vais lui poser également la
But
question.
I'm going to ask the question
Vu ces pins,
because I've never
je
seen these
la
pins. I have no information on this.
Mais pourquoi pas, on veut dire.
But why not?
L'appréciation
It's
du gouverneur.
it's up to the governor, really. It's the governor who decides.
Ah, bon, bah, si elle a promis, elle va les remettre alors. OK.
But then, if that's the case, then the governor will hand over the pins. I will speak to her and I'll let you know. I'll take note of that.
Thank you, PDG Dominique. I know that the pins are also available on the Russell Hampton website. But as PDG has indicated, we will get additional update after she collaborates with our district governor. We also have a question regarding, this one is for Crystal. Crystal, has there been any effort to start an e-club for Rotaractors so that we could maybe look at increasing membership?
So thanks for that question. It's a very good question. And it shows an innovative approach. However, I cannot speak for the past approaches because I'm an incoming officer. So what I could say is that moving forward from the new Rotary year, we will be delving deeper into addressing these challenges from in Rotaract clubs. We will be doing more club assessments and working closer with clubs. We will look at the e-club option as well as satellite club options to help where persons cannot meet physically all the time, but where it could also increase collaboration amongst clubs. And we'll see how we go from there. But we are looking at a rebrand for Rotaract in the next year, as well as more strategic planning, as well as closer work with the Rotarians as well to solve this challenge. So I cannot speak for the past, but I could speak for the future, and I hope that helps answer your question. You're muted.
When I hear you, you're muted.
Thank you. What are the benefits of the school-based clubs? This is an interact-related question. What's the benefit of the school-related clubs and the benefits of the community clubs? If you could just give us a response in maybe 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, well, if so long. Yeah, good question. Thanks a lot for that one. Pros and cons for school-based versus community clubs. As far as from my perspective, school-based clubs are a lot easier to manage because they're basically one location and there's more of a routine to they being there physically, at school. So communication, organization of activities and so on is a lot easier to coordinate there. Community-based clubs allows for a little more flexibility, maybe in terms of projects that maybe could be undertaken, a little more flexibility on whether you want to, establish different boundaries for, let's say, age limits for community-based clubs. The downside to community-based clubs, because by nature how they're located, it might be a little more challenging to coordinate meetings, activities, and so on. One of the things which, when I came into being district interact chair, I know we have 6 clubs within the district that are community-based. I have not been able to speak with any of them or to look into what they're doing to understand them better. That's one of the things that I plan to do going forward into the new year. But I'm not sure if the reason why there's so much less community clubs is because they're a little more challenging to organize and I would say even to grow as as youngsters from various parts of, if you want to say, a community. It can even be a community-based club, can also be students from multiple schools coming together to form a club. Again, because they're coming from different areas, it could pose a bigger challenge to organize, to communicate, and even to coordinate to projects. So that would be my thoughts on in terms of comparing school-based versus community-based.
Thank you. And our final question that has come in, this one is for Evangeline, relating to RILA, the air travel. Do you have any information on that as yet? Evangeline, please unmute. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yes, so what we have done during a few of our committee meetings, we actually explored the possibility, or we will be exploring the possibility of Trinidad, Guyana, and Suriname organizing a charter. Because I think the night we had the meeting from Guyana, it was $692 US. So if everybody meets in Guyana and the charter Caribbean airline, they thought it would work best in their interest. But so let me say here that the members from the different countries are actually assigned to different states in the district, if I should so use that word. So they are actually working with their individual states to have those arrangements put in place.
Thank you, Evangeline. As we wrap up the evening, I have the opportunity to say a very special thank you for these 4 representatives who are leading the way for us, setting the goals for us as a district, as District 7030, to ensure that, as Crystal said, we are investing in the youth because they are the future leaders. To remind you of PDG Dominique School, an Early Act Club in every country. So we throw down that challenge to those of you in countries who do not have Early Act Clubs, to Abraham's goal of having at least 100 Interact clubs in our district. Again, this is something that we can work towards. And as we continue down the line, you will see it's about expansion, expanding the number of clubs, expanding the number of youth that we have involved in our district. As we look at Rotaract, again, it's about engaging, us helping to contribute to that goal of 1 million Rotaractors by 2029. And we have the opportunity to bond with the Rotaractors at Rewind on Wednesday before conference. So for those of you who will be in Trinidad, please make sure get in contact with Crystal and the Rotaractors to make sure that you have your tickets for the Wednesday night fellowship. And finally, Ryla, I look forward to seeing all of you in Antigua, 14th to 16th of November. We again thank each of you for being here today. And this emphasis is not just for our incoming presidents and incoming secretaries, but also to all of the incoming boards, because it's our responsibility as Rotarians to engage our youth. Just before we close off tonight, you'll see in the chat there is a QR code as well as a link. Please give us some feedback on this chat, on this seminar tonight. Let us know what you think and let us know what else you'd like to learn about investing in the youth in our district 70-30. So to all of our presenters again, thank you so much for being here. And to our guest, thank you for your additional time and your patience with all of our technical excitement that we had tonight. Have a great one, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you at our final online PELS next week, Wednesday.